Everyone feels it. Something is off. An uneasy sense of pressure is building underground, but on the surface, everything is running along normally, the same as it ever was. Oddly the same. Some philosophers and economists have called it the Great Stagnation, a broad topic fostering many angles of discussion, mainly in economic and technological spheres. But for the purposes of this video, let's examine one piece of the puzzle, the inertia afflicting popular culture. This malaise may have remedies, but first we need to examine the roots. How did we arrive at this place, this flattening of time, and why?
The internet and social media have made culture more accessible, but established franchises and brands dominate the landscape. Algorithms promote what's popular, not emerging voices. This discourages originality and promotes the predictable.
In the past, unique subcultures were born out of tight-knit communities and local scenes. The hippie movement and psychedelic rock of the 60s were products of San Francisco communes and college towns. The punk scene of the 70s emerged from dingy venues in New York and London before gaining international recognition. The hip-hop culture of the 80s originated in the Bronx, where DJ pioneers experimented with block party beats. These subcultures grew organically from the bottom up, often in opposition to mainstream culture. Their styles were unique and innovative, unlike anything seen before. However, in recent years, culture seems to be stuck in a cycle of recycled nostalgia. Fashion endlessly repeats 80s and 90s trends, while film studios rely heavily on pre-sold intellectual property to create never-ending cinematic universes. Rather than breaking away from the past, current culture seems trapped in it. Global platforms homogenize culture, leading to a flattening of cultural time. Lines between past, present, and future are blurred, making it difficult for artists to create something new without the shadow of their predecessors looming over them. This constant need to pay homage to the past has led to a sense of creative stagnation.
The democratization of creative tools was supposed to enable DIY innovation. Digital cameras, home recording equipment, and music production software lowered barriers to sharing artistic visions. But technical polish and high production aesthetics have come to dominate over originality. Platforms incentivize mirroring the mainstream trends through metrics like engagement, listeners, uploads, and algorithmic promotion. Success is defined by viralness, not novelty. Democratization has not birthed the promised explosion in grassroots innovation so much as allowed more people to copy established styles.
Platforms utilize engagement-based ranking algorithms and recommendation systems like collaborative filtering to predict and suggest content. These algorithms amplify what is already popular, trending, or has been frequently shared rather than surfacing emerging voices with lower engagement. Platforms aim to maximize watch time, listens, or social sharing. This incentivizes recycling predictable, familiar content. The obscure and original are ruthlessly pruned by the algorithms. While culture is more accessible now, the technical architecture has also standardized it into homogeneous, flattened cultural convergence based on popularity. Most innovation seems restricted to technology, let's be honest, mostly telephones, while culture recycles old ideas. In decades past, each artistic medium had its own experimental pioneers, pushing boundaries and building unique subcultures around their groundbreaking work. But in our culture, nostalgia is big business, and studios reanimate existing IP rather than take risks. Critics rightly deride the mainstream of each era, but forget the creative ferment brewing underneath. Yet now even our countercultures feel prepackaged. Can a singular global network still birth the next revolutionary creative movement?
Do creators now anxiously conform rather than risk irrelevance? Is nostalgia comforting amidst dizzying change elsewhere? Are we hiding in the familiar and safe as technology disrupts our jobs, privacy, and sense of self? Have decades of wealth inequality depressed mainstream risk-taking? It's clear that an overly managed curation of culture leads to a stultifying malaise. Maybe what we need is a little more chaos.
Algorithmic recommendations are a bit like feeding someone birthday cake every day. It's delicious and it feels wonderful to be celebrated, but it loses its flavor after a time. While we may strive for order, the truth is that humans and surprisingly large systems thrive with a dash of chaos. Scientists will sometimes inject randomness into an experiment to combat bias. For example, random elements will be introduced in population studies to make sure the sample is reflective of reality. Random mutations in genetics drive evolutionary processes, leading to genetic diversity and adaptation to changing environments. Our cultural inertia was not inevitable but engineered by incentives that value predictability over random discovery. So could we engineer our way out of it? Suppose social media algorithms were designed to include some noise in their signal, say 20% random recommendations unrelated to a user's taste profile. This injection of randomness could create more novel connections and exposures. Platforms could be encouraged to promote random discovery features alongside optimized feeds. Gamification could allow platforms to reward users for choosing content less optimized by their search history. Clear incentives could be the tool to counteract the stagnation bred by closed algorithmic loops. Serendipity emerges through open-minded wandering, not following predetermined paths. With thoughtful design, algorithmic systems can nurture cultural dynamism rather than extinguish it. Humans have never found themselves in a closed cultural loop like this one before, and we can all feel the build-up of pressure it is causing. If something isn't done to solve this problem, it will eventually solve itself, organically, explosively, anarchically.